Hello, in this demonstration video, I'll be showing you how to light for indoor conditions that is applicable to multiple scenes. So our first and foremost example that we'll be doing for lighting is going to be natural. Well, it's free, abundant, and it's soft. Now what do I mean by soft light? I mean that the shadows that are on our subject's face are not harsh. So it really isn't, one part's really bright and one part's really dark. That's the advantage of natural lighting. Of course, this can lead to bland looking shots. So something that we'll touch upon later in the video is how to control lighting and how to really make natural light look good. So one of the first steps that we can take to really elevate our level of lighting is by, taking out the lighting that we are provided with. So blackout curtains, example, we can use to basically cover our windows to get rid of all the light so that when we take in artificial lighting, so something like an LED or tungsten light, it doesn't have to compete with anything else, and we can be really specific with what we want. So one of the examples of using a real blackout curtain, and not just the normal curtains that you probably have, is that this blocks out the light completely. We're really wanting to be able to have complete control over our environment. So you can see here, very little light at all comes through. And so you can use different things like clamps, tape, or rope, for instance, to hang these. So adding artificial light to your environment really allows you to control what you're doing. Is it a narrative piece or is this more of an interview? You can really change the mood of what you're doing. With natural light, you really can't control where it goes, especially if it's coming from a big source like a window. Stuff kind of ends up looking bland. But with this much more directional light right here from our softbox, we can see our subject has some nice shadows going across his face and we're getting some depth. So another element that you can really add to lighting, which we just talked about, which was controlling and shaping the lighting, is dealing with how we place the light. Right now we have it in the typical interview style, a couple degrees down, maybe anywhere between 10 and 20, and more of a 30-degree angle to the front of our subject. Now if you're doing, let's say for instance, something that's a bit more dramatic, we can change the angle a bit, and you can see on our B camera that we're getting more intense shadows on this side of the face. This adds depth and a bit of a mood to it. If we're wanting to go really stylistic, so basically anything past 45 degrees, we start getting into the territory where you really should be having a reason for why you're doing this shot. You don't want the whole interview to be like this. And of course, you can always do 180, which is more of a silhouette shot. So of course, with artificial lighting, it's really easy to move the light around, but not exactly when it comes to natural. So of course, we move the subject. So by changing the rotation, we can, to a certain degree, also change the shadows on their face. But we run into another problem. Natural light is incredibly diffused, so we won't get the same nice shadows that we did with artificial lighting. So practicals is something that a lot of people overlook. A practical is a light in the scene, for instance, so a lamp. And the reason why you would add practical lighting to your subject is to really make the background come alive. We can see here with our subject that the background is just bland. All the light that's coming to it is from our softbox. Nothing interesting is happening. It's just kind of a void. So taking lights that you have, for instance, like a Christmas tree, if you do, can really just make the lighting here different and also add something that otherwise wouldn't be there. So after all of this effort, we finally come to a scene that looks really good. We have the light at about a 45-degree angle, and a really good trademark that you can see that if you did the lighting right is this little triangle of light right here on the cheek. We can also see that the background has something in it and it's not just a blank void. So of course we left out some smaller details like further controlling natural and artificial lighting with bounces and further diffusion, but these principles can still be applied to your projects. Anyways, hope this video was helpful and have a good day.